We had heard bits and pieces of Aaron Rodgers. He goes on Pat McAfee's show. He was on SportsCenter with Kenny Mayne. And he gave us some sound bites, some interesting answers. So he had a press conference today. Yesterday he arrived in Green Bay. We heard about whatever deal was struck. And you had to wonder, how's he going to sell this thing? Is he going to sell it as, completely blown out of proportion by the media? Media creation, I was always coming back, nothing to it. Or I'm staying in Green Bay forever, never leaving. Here's Aaron Rodgers at the podium.
There was a lot of things that transpired. This wasn't, a draft day thing. This was started with a conversation in February that the season ended, and I just expressed, my desire to be more involved in conversations directly affecting my job. Also, I wanted to help the organization maybe learn from them some of the mistakes in the past, in my opinion, about the way that some of the outgoing veterans were treated, and just the fact that we didn't retain a number of players that I felt like were core players to our foundation, our locker room, high character guys. I'm talking about Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Randall Cobb, James Jones, John Kuhn, Brett Good, T.J. Lang, Brian Balaga, Casey Hayward, Micah Hyde, guys who were, exceptional players for us, but great locker room guys, high character guys. Many of them who weren't offered a contract at all, or were extremely lowballed, or were, maybe in my opinion, not given the respect on the way out that guys of their status and stature and high character deserved. And then it kind of progressed from there into a commitment for the 2021 season and beyond. That really wasn't given at any time. So for me, I had to assess the situation, not necessarily wanting to be a lame duck quarterback, especially after an MVP season, which I think you can understand. And then the other part in February was wanting to be a part of conversations involving free agents, which has never happened in my career. I've trained with a number of NFL guys most of my career in the off seasons. My agency, Athletes First, has had a number of high draft picks over the years. I've tried to pass along information. Hasn't really been used, shall we say. So I wanted to offer my services as a recruiter, and I think we can all understand, Green Bay isn't, a huge vacation destination. People are coming here to play with me, to play with our team, and knowing that they can win a championship here. And the fact that I haven't been used in those discussions was one I wanted to change moving forward. And I felt like based on my years, the way I can still play, that should be a natural part of the conversation. As that progressed from that point, nothing really changed on that front. So we got into March, and the conversation changed. As I felt like if you can't commit to me past 2021, and I'm not a part of recruiting process and free agency, if I'm not a part of the future, then instead of letting me be a lame duck quarterback, if you want to make a change and move forward, then go ahead and do it. That obviously didn't happen. Like I said, it wasn't a draft day thing. There were conversations for a number of months leading up to that. Post the draft, I think what basically happened was then they said, we'll give you some money now. Let's see if we can throw some money at you. I said from the start it wasn't about the money. Obviously, I didn't show up for the off-season program or mini camp. To me, it was bigger than this. It was about trying to be a resource for the organization that I care about and love so much.
That's a wow. That's a lot to dig into. We'll do so with TJ Houshmandzadeh in a second. First, let's get you to Dan Byer. Dan, what do you got?
Couple of quick things, Doug. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson testing positive for COVID-19. Ravens head coach John Harbaugh said Jackson tested negative for 5 straight days before testing positive yesterday. He confirmed reports Harbaugh did that running back Gus Edwards also tested positive, adding the team's vaccination rate is at 90%. Colts signed tackle.
So we're both not vaccinated?
Lamar Jackson does not seem to be vaccinated because he was tested every day. And that's the rule. If you're unvaccinated, you get tested every day.
Why would Lamar Jackson not be vaccinated?
And he also tested positive, remember, during the regular season last year and missed that game against the Steelers. So this is the second time that Jackson has tested positive for COVID-19.
Can we get a third time?
Colts signed tackle Braden Smith to a 4-year extension, while the Oakland A's are set to acquire Marlins outfielder Starling Marte. U.S. claimed gold in the women's 3-on-3 basketball tournament, while ESPN reports the 76ers are shopping Ben Simmons.
Reaching out to the. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they were going to reach out to whoever won the 3-on-3.
No, they are shopping Ben Simmons. ESPN says with Simmons and his agent also wanting a move. Athletics says that with Simmons likely going elsewhere, the Heat, Raptors, and Wizards would be the most likely landing spots. Back to you.
Dan, you're a Packers fan. I'm not really a Packers fan.
No,
kind of
not
Packers
at all,
hater.
but
okay. What do you think of Aaron Rodgers?
I actually appreciated the candid and just how forthcoming he was in saying his points, because I was very critical of where he was. I think that he does have some valid points, but I still don't think that he should have kept the team in this huge limbo this off. I understand the gain of it. I think others were more. I think Packer fans were the ones who were stressed out the most about it. So
I actually thought he painted a really honest. He's like, look, if you don't want to extend me past 2021, and you don't really care about my input onto who's on the team, what are we doing here?
Sure,
right? It's a fair question. I'm really surprised and frankly disappointed that the Packers, if it's and I don't believe. Do I think there's nuance to what he's saying, right? We could go through all the players that he talked about leaving and how they left and whatever, and there's different perspectives on it, right? Because I talked to an NFL GM about this previously. Look, the whole idea of asking previously star players for pay cuts, that doesn't go over well. That never works out well. You go to a guy and go, hey, would you take a pay cut? And they all say, I would have taken a pay cut to stay, but none of them would want really. You don't want to be in the same locker room making millions and millions less. Very few guys would do that. And many of them feel like they're insulted if you do ask them. So it's a little bit of it's an impossible thing to ask of an organization every time. But if Brian Gutekunst and Mark Murphy didn't offer him an extension, maybe didn't reach the financial level that he wants, but to not put an extension in front of him, that's terrible business by the Packers. I actually can understand everything else from their perspective, and I really like what he said about adding players, but I can't get that. Let me welcome in TJ Houshmandzadeh, who joins us. Up on Game is every Saturday, 10 to noon Pacific Coast time. That's a great show. You don't want to miss it. You can also download the pod. Plexico Burris, LeVar Arrington, and TJ Houshmandzadeh. So all former star players and 2 wide receivers and a great linebacker. TJ, what'd you think of Aaron Rodgers today?
The one word that I take away from that is transparency. He was very honest and very transparent in how he felt, what was going on. It was refreshing, and for me now, it's the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. They're must-see TV this year. You just want to watch every game they play and probably overanalyze every loss. But man, he was very transparent.
Okay, in your mind, do you think if he has a great year, will he be back?
I'm not getting rid of my best player. I don't care how much he dislikes what's going on. We got to figure out a way to make it work. And it's like players are human and they have these attachments. And so Aaron Rodgers is upset about Randall Cobb not being there and Jordy Nelson not being there, and he brings up Julius Peppers and Charles Woodson as well. See, what happens is they need to just go to him and say, hey, we're probably going to let so-and-so go, and this is why. He might not like it, but he would agree to it, and he would say, okay, it's the fact that it's happening, and he has no idea. That's the biggest thing. We're going to let so-and-so go, Aaron. We're just giving you a heads up.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it, but he also has to be okay with, like, look, we'll share with you the news, but it's going to have to be news. Sometimes it's going to be news you don't like. And that's the hard part. I also think that one of the things that you and I know this, right? In our relationship, if we hang out, we're going to argue about stuff, right? You and I will argue about the Lakers and about Kobe and about whomever, because I do think that athletes, for whatever reason, we handle confrontation a lot better than non-athletes. And I found this with bosses in TV and radio, that a lot of times they don't want to have those tough conversations because they're not comfortable, even if the truth is that, like, most former athletes are much more comfortable being told the truth than they are being an edict being passed down. Is that fair?
100%. We live in controversy and confrontation. That's the gist of what we are as athletes. And for us, it's we confront each other, and 10 minutes later, we're done with it. We forgot about it. Let's go attack this common goal that we have. Or if we're on opposite teams, we're going to compete like hell. But after the game, if we're friends, we're friends. But in between the line, it's just so many different things and emotions that you go through that, for us, we've been conditioned to deal with it. That's just what it is.
So, TJ, so after Aaron Rodgers got done, they're like, hey, who else can we talk to? How about Davante Adams? Here's Davante Adams when asked about whether or not he'd take a discount to stay if Aaron Rodgers is around next year.
Would you be willing to not be the highest paid wide receiver if it means staying with him, or is that all you'll settle for?
No, that's not going to happen. I don't want to. It's not about being a baby, but what other profession do you take less than what you have earned? That's not how it goes. And, the fans may see it different in certain ways, and I'm sure there's a lot of fans that see it the same way that myself, my family, my agent, and, most of the league sees it. But, I'm not a baby, so I'm not going to not show up, and I'm not complaining about it. At the end of the day, I'm not poor right now. I'll be okay to get through and, go try to win a Super Bowl again. And that's my main focus now.
What do you think of Davante's approach?
He has the right approach. All this reporters in the media, they need to stop doing this, asking guys about taking discounts. Are you going to take a discount to go do your job? So if you're not going to take a discount to do your job, why would you even ask or expect an athlete to do the same? I like their approach.
I'll push back on that, TJ. There's a couple things. One, not everybody takes every dollar offered to them in any field, in our field as well. And I can just tell you, like, it is sometimes about, what show you have, who you're working with, where you live.
Now, what I will say this, okay, say he's offered $100,000 more and he has to go play with the worst team in the league or Green Bay.
Correct.
He's going to stay in Green Bay. When I'm talking discount, I'm talking a huge haircut.
No, that's not. No, I mean, this is like, it's like Kohl's, right? Like, you ever go and you get those mailers, right? Like, everything's like, discounts can be, I think that what Kohl's does is they pump up their prices a little bit because everybody has like the 30 or 40% coupon to go in there, right? Like, a discount can be anything. That's why, like, I think it's the wrong tack. Like, look, it's really simple. I want to be here. I think I'm the best. They think I'm the best. I should be paid the best. I should be paid the most. But, like, look, I'm willing to work with them and do something creative if we can keep all this all together. That's the answer. I want the most money. It's not, and the baby thing, that's him. He's doing the mental gymnastics of saying nobody called him a baby. Simply asked him a question. It's a valid question. Would you take a little bit less if you got to play with Aaron? And his answer was no, I want top dollar, period, stop, end of story. Right?
I'm not speaking for him.
Yeah.
But if it's a couple $100,000, I'm almost certain that wouldn't be.
Of course, it's smart business.
Couple $100,000,
especially if
that.
But not just that, but the offense is built around him, right? And he's He knows everybody. He knows everything. And if he plays with Aaron Rodgers, he's much more likely to hit his bonuses than if he goes and plays with somebody else who's got to work some stuff out with. So, yeah, what you're saying is right. And I think that he had a chance. Aaron, for the most part, won today. I don't think Davante lost, but I definitely don't think he won his press conference with his tact.
I mean, it's one of those things. He's looking at it from the perspective. When you say discount, he's probably thinking 7-figure discount. If it's a 6-figure discount and it's a couple $100,000, I'm almost certain, oh, that's not a problem at all. Tell me when to sign. Yeah. I mean, I've talked to him this offseason for quite a bit.
I'm with you. And look, in negotiations, sometimes people like to draw a hard and fast line, and then you have a real conversation, and it's different. That was one in which Davante Adams could have simply said, like, look, I want to be here. If they want me here, there's a deal to be had, and I'm going to go out.
You know what's going to happen, Doug? Also, you know they had contract discussions. Those discussions probably pissed him off.
Yes.
And so that could be part of it as well, that nobody's discussing, that those discussions that he had, his agent in the front office of the Packers had, did not go the way he expected. So he's probably upset. I'm not going to be a baby about it. I'm going to show up. And so that's what I take from that as well, is those discussions, they weren't very well. They didn't go very well.
No, which appears to be where the Packers are missing, is in whatever they are. I would point out that this is why you have an agent. And this is why Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be involved in personnel discussions, because players take all this stuff personally, and that's why you need a go-between. That's why you need an agent to kind of rephrase and resell it. Otherwise, it becomes very, very personal. All right, here's the question. Could be both their last year in Green Bay. Does this make you any more likely to think they're going to go to and win a Super Bowl?
No, not at all. You know, obviously, Davante, at least for me, he's the best receiver in the game right now. But it's just, there's so much that needs to happen. You got a few lucky breaks here and there. You don't have injuries at key positions. I mean, we're just talking about Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. Darius Smith, he's pissed off as well. So they got some unhappy people in that locker room. Can they put that to the side and focus on this common goal, and that's to get to the Super Bowl?
Yep.
You would assume yes. But Doug, when you're in that locker room, man, and you have a lot of downtime and you're talking, you just start talking and negative things come up.
Yes.
And you start taking it out on the coaches, and I'm not doing this. What they gonna do to me? That can bring a team down. I'm not saying that will happen, but those conversations will be taking place, and it's, can you be a professional and not let that affect your performance?
That's TJ Houshmandzadeh. Up on Game is the show. It's also a podcast. You can download it. It's 10 a.m. to noon West Coast time. You can make the adjustment in your mind East Coast time. TJ, you're the best. Thanks for joining us. I do actually understand the Packers and some of their stances. Like, we don't want to do these things, because if we give that to Aaron Rodgers, who don't we give into? This is Aaron Rodgers on Green Bay trying to throw money at him.
It wasn't a draft day thing. There were conversations for a number of months leading up to that. Post the draft, I think what basically happened was then they said, we'll give you some money now. Let's see if we can throw some money at you. I said from the start it wasn't about the money. Obviously, I didn't show up for the off-season program or mini camp. To me, it was bigger than this. It was about trying to be a resource for the organization that I care about and love so much.
I mean, look, fascinating stuff of what Aaron Rodgers is talking about. Shared with us the deal. Like, hey, they came to me. We talked about things. They didn't want to extend me before the draft. He said he had nothing to do with the draft day leaks. I actually tend to believe that. I think the draft day leaks were all about the Niners thinking they had a chance at a deal, and they leaked it out there. They leaked it out there because they thought they could plant the seeds of dysfunction. Here's Aaron Rodgers on not having talks about an extension.
There was a part of me that did think that there would be conversation about an extension. You know, based on my cap number this season, next season, it seemed natural based on the way I played to at least have a conversation about it. It wasn't a conversation. Not until into May. And that to me seemed like an analogy that you guys understand. You guys have a fantastic year at work. You write some great stories. You go to your boss and say, I just had an incredible year. I think I deserve a pay raise or, some security. And the boss says, let's just see how it goes. A couple months down the line, you get another job opportunity. You go back to your boss and say, hey, I got this amazing job opportunity. And say, whoa, no, we love you. We do want you to stick around. We do care about you. It doesn't have the same feeling.
Honestly, that's the biggest problem, I think, in my industry, in every industry. Like what Aaron Rodgers is feeling is real, but it's also completely relatable. What an interesting look at the Packers organization, how they do business. He was asked to be considered retirement. Take a listen to his answer. Get that 1 second. This is Aaron Rodgers, whether or not he considered retirement.
Aaron, was there a point over the last few months when you seriously considered retirement? Because you might and at what point did you change your mind and decide to actually come back?
Yeah, that's definitely something I thought about. I talked about how important being a full-timer was for a long time. This was the first time to spend the off-season away without a COVID year or a lockout year. And I enjoyed it. I really did. I took time working on myself and trying to better myself in a number of areas where I feel like I could improve based on my own patterns and conditioning. And it was a lot of growth in that process. I continued to find joy and happiness in things off the field. However, there's still a big competitive hole in my body that I need to fill. And as I got back into my workouts, I just realized that I know I can still play, and I want to still play. And as long as I feel like I can give 100% to the team, then I should still play.
I think it's a really thoughtful, interesting answer. I'm not sure it came out the way that he and his agent would like to come out in terms of linking him up to a long-term deal, right? It's like we've heard Aaron Rodgers wants to play into his 40s, but that's the real Aaron Rodgers. Everything else he shared is the real Aaron Rodgers. And he just told you right there, like, yeah, I actually had a lot of fun not doing anything football-wise. And then I still have a competitive hole. How long until you fill that hole? Like, we're making the Packers look like the bad guys, look like the dopes. But the reality of it is, 2 years ago, I actually thought he had a better season than most people thought. But the reality is, most people thought his skills were declining. He didn't love the progress of the organization. And, oh, yeah, by the way, he told people around him, I don't want to play into my 40s. Like, I want to have a life. So the Packers have some ammo there to be like, wait, you want us to sign you to an extension? When 2 years ago you didn't look great. You've never totally been down with the program. And, oh, yeah, by the way, like you even said yourself, you enjoyed spending time away from football. You can tell people you want to play till you're 45. The reality is you're not Tom Brady. You're not Russell Wilson. You're not saying all these. This is the real Aaron Rodgers. Interesting.